Yes, it is. Alrighty, thank you yet again for joining me in an exercise wherein I will be reading a paragraph to you, such as the one located just to my left. Embedded within it are the potential for errors related to grammar, syntax, and so forth. Please keep that in mind as you listen to me read. Afterwards, I'm going to do my best to stand out of frame and hope that you can read that, which appears that you can, to make corrections independently. Please resume once you've exhausted, or you feel as though you've exhausted all the potential corrections there are to make. And once resumed, you and I will make corrections together. All right, feel free to use the comment section below to let me know if perhaps I've missed something, which does unfortunately occur. However, doing so would benefit not only me, thank you, but others as well. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started as mentioned by reading the paragraph. Excuse me. All right, another interesting fact about the Dead Sea is that the concentration of salt changes according to depth. The water is much saltier in the deepest parts. That's because salt water is denser than fresh water. From the surface down to a depth of 130 feet, the salinity is about 300 parts per thousand. In other words, every cup of water has nearly 1/3 cup of salt. A 200-foot thick layer below that has a salinity of about 332 parts per thousand. The water is saltiest at a depth of more than 330 feet below the surface. It is so dense that it stays on the bottom. By now, you can understand why the Dead Sea is also called the Salt Sea. All right, once more, please pause here. Oh, yes, you can read that. Please pause here to make those corrections. Resume once more when you're ready to correct. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Since I'm moving and shaking, you've hit play. So another interesting thing, which is misspelled, I'm gonna go ahead and strike one of those consonants that are. Fact about the Dead Sea is that the concentration of salt changes according, which should have two C's, not one, according to depth. The water is much saltier in the deepest parts, and for whatever reason, this is written as a singular possessive. In fact, that's not the case. We mean to use it as a plurality of parts. So I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of that apostrophe. Now, the next word, however, I'm gonna add an apostrophe because that's the way it's written, is meant to be the contraction of the word that and is. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that apostrophe. That's because salt water is denser, which should have one S, than fresh water. From the surface down to a depth of 130 feet, which I'm gonna hyphenate to showcase that strong relationship between the number and its unit, the salinity is about 300 parts, which I'm also going to hyphenate, per thousand. In other words, every cup of water has nearly 1/3, hyphenate, showcase that relationship, cup of salt. And we've ended this thought. So I'm gonna close the parentheses. Parentheses being one of those three parenthetics in English. Alrighty, a 200-foot thick layer. Here we're gonna hyphenate all three parts. Foot thick layer, because they're all in relation to each other. Below that has a salinity of about 332 parts, hyphenated, per thousand, which is misspelled. That E should be an A. The water is saltiest at a depth of more than 300 feet below the surface. It is so dense that it stays on the bottom. By now, you can understand why the Dead Sea, which is a proper noun, yet for whatever reason it's not capitalized. So we're gonna go ahead and capitalize both the D and the S in Dead Sea, is also called the Salt Sea. And this as well, since it's being referred to as a proper noun, should be capitalized. Salt and sea are now capitalized. All right, let me know if, once more, I neglected perhaps to include a correction. If you have a better revision or suggestion, again, please use that comment section. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If that's the case, I would appreciate a like and subscribe should you want to continue to practice with me. All right, thank you, appreciate it.